Hey everyone, welcome back. So we got a couple things to talk about today. We got Marathon providing their Q2 results. We also have Bitfarms providing their July update. So we'll get through those two things. Miners were down today. Bitcoin was down today. It actually bounced back up, which was kind of nice to see. But it's down a little bit now. And on the new day, we'll look at all that stuff. Amazon had actually good results, but the stock actually came down after hours. So it's kind of a wild day today. But as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. My full disclosure down below of that. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And I will be honest with you guys, I am kind of beat right now. I've been cleaning up the house in preparation for my wife's return tomorrow. So if I'm a little bit winded or something like that, that's mainly why. Just trying to get things ready for my wife, the boys to come back. I'm thrilled beyond measure, I guess you could say, with them returning. It's been a long month with them being gone in Europe, but they're coming back. So I'm really, really excited about that and happy at the same time. But here's what we got, what's going on with Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners here. Bitcoin, as you can see here, had a pretty wild day today. It was down quite a bit. It closed, well, it didn't close. We hit a low of 62,212. We closed at 65,295. We did close above our support line here, which is at 63,750, somewhere right around there. We are, well, on the new day today, we are now kind of battling with it again. We came down just slightly below it, then we bounced off of it. So we'll see if the support line can hold at the 63,750. That would be a good sign here. On the RSI, we can see that the RSI here is pretty low. It's at 48. It's not that bad. It's kind of like in the middle range right now. Last time we were here, we were back here. This was on July 14th. And at that point, the Bitcoin price was at 59,000, or actually, where did we close? We closed at 60,808. So we are above that. That's looking good. If you guys recall the previous videos that we had on this topic, I said if once we get the reversal on the RSI and Bitcoin price on the daily, I think that's going to be a good sign. And we do have that here now. We've had it for a couple of days here, so that is a good sign. If we look at the 1 hour chart here, we can see that Bitcoin did come down here below the 30, the 30 mark. We are now at roughly 47 or so. I think that's also a good sign here as well. We'll see how this continues going forward. So right now we're battling, right? We're battling with what might be support here. If we don't hold that support, we might be coming down to approximately 61,000, which is our previous support. At that point, we'll see where we end up if we get close to that, if that gets held, or if we break below that. At that point, we might be going down to 57,500, something like that. Miners, on the other hand, had a pretty rough day today. A lot of miners were down single digits percentage-wise. Some were actually down 10%. Who do we have down here? Actually, nobody was 10%. Why did I think we're down 10%? Oh, Digital was down 10%. Everybody else was down below that. But it was just a red day here, not only in the miners, but also in the ETFs for the miners. So it was a rough day. Marathon also was down quite a bit here. We'll talk about Marathon. And now on Bitfarms was only down 5%. Marathon was down 7.78%. But, I mean, everybody else was down. Hive was down 7.16%. Cleanspark was down 5.69%. Wolf was down probably the least amount here out of all of them. They were down only 1.2%. Excuse me. So Wolf did the best here. And there's a rumbling around that. What is that? Wolf. There's a company there that they're also part of. I'm drawing a blank right now. But they're looking to sell their Nautilus or their share in the Nautilus facility. And would it be in the benefit of Wolf to possibly buy that out? I think it would be. We'll see if that happens or not. But gosh, I can't remember the company and the name right now. I'm drawing a blank, so I do apologize. There's just too many things rattling my brain right now. But yeah, Talon, there we go. Talon, I knew it would come back to me eventually. So Talon Energy is looking to basically sell our stake at Nautilus, which I believe TerraWolf owns 49% of that. Talon owns 51% of that. I think that would be a good thing if Wolf could get that, because they're already in there anyways. Why not just get the rest of it at the same point? So we'll see if that happens. Okay. All right. Let's get into the news stories that we do have here and see what's going on here. So Bitfarms, they provide their July 2024 production update and operations update. There's some good news in here. There's some bad news as well, a little bit. but we'll get through it all. So here we go. As we continue to execute on the fleet upgrade program, we are gaining market share and driving increasing amounts of Bitcoin mined month over month. That is true. Since the halving event in April, our Bitcoin mined per month has increased 62%. This speaks volume to our operational expertise and improved efficiency, and I'm confident that we are well positioned to further accelerate our growth and drive value for shareholders, said Ben Gagnon, Chief Executive Officer, CEO there. So we'll look at the chart here in my tables that I have for them, and that is actually the case here. They have been growing their Bitcoin mined month over month here since the halving event, which is really good to see. Okay. Going down here, hash rate remains below the 12 exahash target, primarily due to the underperformance of a batch of 3,000 T21s, representing 700 petahash that experience overheating issues even at low temperatures. Bitmain is rapidly replacing these machines at their expense, which is good. The new miners are expected to arrive and be installed on site in 3 weeks. We have worked closely with Bitmain to resolve these manufacturing issues and to prevent a reoccurrence in the future batches. Including August delivery, we remain pleased with the overall performance of the T21s, with the vast majority performing and hashing as expected. Further optimization on site and software enhancements are also expected to drive continued improvements in August. So this is good news, right? So they would have been at 12 exahash had it not been for maybe a bad batch of T21s here. So that kind of explains it, right? I think this is actually the first time that I heard a batch being bad for any of the miners that have been coming here for the last probably 3 years or so. I remember, well, personally, I remember when I was mining with a friend of mine, I was managing the farm for him. We had the D3s, which were dash miners at that point, and those things were breaking down on us like crazy here. I don't know if that was just a bad batch or what was going on with those things, but those things were terrible miners. Okay, going down here, you can see the construction here at Bitfarms data center in I can't pronounce that name, that city there, Waiguzu, Paraguay. But you can see you got 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. No, 1, 2, 3, 4 data centers taking shape here. Those are looking pretty good there. You got another spot here for maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So a total of 12 data centers, buildings being built out there, which is looking pretty good here. So that's what's going to get them to the 21 exahash potentially going forward here. Okay, continuing on, our 2024 growth and efficiency improvements plans are fully funded with sufficient liquidity for the infrastructure build-out and miner procurement. This is great news. So they're fully funded to get to the 21 exahash. They can now do other things with the Bitcoin that they sell and things like that. And they go into a little bit of a detail in here as well. This will enable us to achieve our year-end guidance of 21 exahash and 21 watts per terahash. Being fully funded reduces our near-term capex requirements and allows us to apply a greater amount of excess cash flow from operations to building our HODL position, which increased by 111 Bitcoin during July, said Jeff Lucas, Chief Financial Officer. This is great. I believe this is fantastic news here. We talked about this probably about a week ago when the news came out that they were fully funded to 21 exahash. And this is just another one of those brownie points, I guess you could say, on Bitfarms that, one, they always provide like the mining updates the first day of the month here, pretty much, unless it falls on like a Saturday or Sunday. But they always provide those, so they know what's going on. They're really efficient when it comes to those types of things. And they're fully funded here, which is a great thing. And the stock is not doing that great. And the reason it's not doing that great is because I believe it's because of the overhang with Riot right now. But we'll get into that maybe later on as well. Let's see here. Total BTC earned here was 253. Nice increase from June, 189. Month-end operating hash rate was 11.1%, or 11.1 exahash, sorry. BTC average exahash was, BTC per average exahash was 25 Bitcoin. Average operating hash rate was 10.3. And then let's see here. Operating capacity was 310 megawatts. Hydropower was 256 megawatts. Watts per terahash efficiency is 25 right now. Bitcoin sold 142. Okay. But that's basically it. Let's take a look at the numbers that I do have here for Bitfarms. And Bitfarms right now is approximately 411 million shares outstanding. Market cap about 1.06 billion. The performance here has been pretty good actually over the last 12 weeks. They were up 47% from 12 weeks ago, 20% from 8 weeks ago. They were up 4.7% from 4 weeks ago and 6.32% from 1 week ago. So that's not actually too bad there. Their HODL now is at 1,016 Bitcoin. That's valued at about 63 million that they have on there. And you can see here the BTC mined here over the last 12 months, basically. Actually, 13 months because we're going back to July of last year. It has been coming down ever since December, but we've also seen the network hash rate increase and other things as well. But as of after the halving event in April, their production bottomed out in May with 156, and in June was 189. July was 253, a nice increase here continuing on. And I expect that to continue going forward if they can continue to install hash rate and grow it that way. So they are getting market share of the Bitcoin network hash rate, which is good to see. Revenues also, as you can see here, bottomed out in May here with 10.17 million, June with 12.45, and July now with 15.87. So that is increasing as well. That is good to see also. Next, BTC HODL. BTC HODL has continued to increase. They pretty much doubled their hash rate or HODL position from July of last year, which is great to see also, because as Bitcoin goes up in value, that's going to be a good return for them going forward, as long as they sell it towards the peak of it. I don't expect them to sell exactly at the peak, but if they can get close to it, I think that would be a good sign there. Hash rate, also good growth here, at least in the last several months. They were at 6.5 exahash in March, April 7 exahash, May 7.5, 10.4 in June, and July was 11.1. They're saying. So I got them at 11.18 roughly. Bitcoin sold here, they're selling less Bitcoin here the last couple of months here, which is good. They're able to put more into their HODL position, which is also good, I believe. Their efficiency also increased here to 22.6, which we'll see what the other miners come in at, but that's looking pretty good right now. BTC sold value, they've been selling about, 8.8, 8.9 million here in the last 3 months. That's actually pretty good here for them. Going down here, and I did forget to include the institutions here. I just noticed that. I've been dealing with a lot of things, but I'll get that updated either today after the show or later on tomorrow. I'll get this updated for you, for the Patreon members at least. Okay, so we won't cover that. I got to do that. I'm going to make myself a note here to do that right now before I forget, because there's just a lot of moving parts here. So forgive me a second while I make myself a little note here to do that really quick. All right, Bitfarms need to update institutions. Update institutions. Okay. All right. I made myself a little note here. We should be good going forward. What else we got here? So for the month of July, I added some miners here. I added the N-miner S21H2s, or the second half, which we're in right now. So I'm guessing that was 777 petahash. That got me to the 11.182 exahash for them. And I had them mining at approximately 29.97 days out of the month, which is actually pretty good here, considering all things done. And then the new miners were mining at approximately 20 days. That's kind of what I give the average here for the new miners being installed. But they got us to the 15.874 million, which coincides with what we had based on the average Bitcoin price for the month, the network hash rate, what that came out to be. And that's where I have them at right now, 15.874 million. Okay. Now going back up here, based on the last 3 quarters that we have data on them, which are actual numbers, the last quarter, which is an estimated, I have them at 40 million for the last quarter, which ended in June. We'll see what they report. I think they're going to be reporting next week their Q2 numbers. So we'll see how close I get to that. But right now I'm between $4.17 to $6.25. They're at $2.59. I do believe that they are undervalued. If we look at the last month, which was July, and multiply the revenue by 12 months, I have in between 463 and 694, meaning that the revenue is increasing here going forward. So that's a good sign there as well. So I think that's kind of where they might be going forward a little bit. Okay. But that's it for Bitfarms. Takeaways from Bitfarms. I mean, it'd be nice if they would reach 12 exahash, but I can see the issue with the Bitmain miners having a bad batch possibly. And they're underperforming there, so that's why that's being swapped out for newer miners of the T21s as well. Yeah, other than that, I mean, they just have to continue to increase their hash rate going forward to get to 21 exahash by the end of the year. They're doing all the right things, I think, here. And that's why I'm still a very strong bull on Bitfarms going forward. The only thing we have to get past is Riot, and I think Riot actually has now 16% of the shares. Where did I see that? I saw that something, so they have like 16% of the shares right now. So they have been buying some more as well. Riot is probably going to be targeting to get to maybe 19.9%. And I'm hoping, right, hope is not a, what do they call that? Is not a guarantee, but I'm hoping that Bitcoin price goes up in value in time before the October, was it 23rd or 22nd? I can't remember the shareholder meeting that's going to be happening there, where the price of Bitcoin or price of Bitfarms will actually be much higher, maybe at least a double from where it's at right now. And then at that point, it might be just unappealing for Riot to buy them because they would be paying a huge premium on Bitfarms at that point. That would give them basically a market cap of $2 billion at that time. Okay, but that's it for Bitfarms. I am looking to possibly buy next week. I have been able to scrunch up some cash here. I might be able to deploy a couple thousand into it. So if the stock is down still, I may deploy some more cash into Bitfarms next week. All right, so that's it for Bitfarms. Let's take a look at Mara really quick, and then we'll get into your guys' Q&A side of things as well. So Mara reports second quarter 2024 results. And here's what we have here. Second quarter 2024 financial and operational highlights. The energized hash rate increased 78%, 31.5 exahash from Q2 from 17.7 exahash in Q2 of last year. So that's good. Produced 2,058 Bitcoin, which is also through their self-mining and through the joint ventures that they have as well. So that is a 30% decrease from Q2 of 2023. We kind of knew that was going to happen because, one, the network hash rate has been growing since then. We also had the halving event. So it's actually not too bad, right? So the title of the video was Mara Q2 results. Could have been worse. Yeah, it could have been worse, right? They could have had Bitcoin actually go down, value down, instead of just like the 60,000 mark, roughly around there at the end of Q2. Could have been worse than that. It could have actually gone down to like 53,000 at the end, which would have been a lot worse. And they could have continued to have issues at their facilities where they were mining a lot less, but they did improve those in Q2 as well. So that was a good sign there. Revenues increased 78% to 145.1 million in Q2 from 81.8 million. So that's good there, right? Net loss increased to 199.7 million or 72 cents loss per diluted share in Q2 versus last year, a net loss of 9 million and 7 cents loss per diluted share in Q2 of last year. Net loss includes 148 million loss on fair value of digital assets. Right? So that's the kind of double-edged sword here with the FASB rules when it comes to Bitcoin, because when Bitcoin is going up, that is beautiful news for the miners. When it's going down, it is terrible news for the miners because they have to write it down and they take a hit on it. Let's see here. Adjusted EBITDA decreased to a loss of 85.1 million in Q2 of this year compared to 35.8 million in Q2 of last year. And then the combined unrestricted cash and cash equivalents and BTC increased to 1.4 billion as of June 30th, 2024. They have a really healthy balance sheet. They have the largest HODL here out of all the miners. So for them, it's just basically continuing to increase their hash rate, continuing to do what they can to have as high uptime as possible, and mining as much Bitcoin as they possibly can going forward. The other stuff here is acquiring the Garden City data center in Texas. They signed a partnership in Kenya aimed at developing underutilized energy assets, and then diversified the company's portfolio of digital assets compute through the successful launch of cash flow mining operations as well. And that's part of it as well there. Okay. But let's take a look at the numbers that I have here for Marathon, and we'll get into your guys' Q&A side of things. So Marathon increased their shares. It's now at 284 million. So that's almost close to 300 million right now. So they're getting close to like Marathon and Riot. Riot came in at, where did it Riot came in at? Right. Okay, so Riot actually surpassed 303 million. Right, Marathon's at 294 million. They're 100 million shares away from Bitfarms right now. They have a much larger market cap as it is. Marathon has a 5.8 billion roughly market cap as it is right now. The performance over the last 12 weeks has been actually not too bad. Right, they're 23% up from 12 weeks ago. From 8 weeks ago, they're up 10.5%. From 4 weeks, they're up 8.7%. And last week, they were up 3.85%. Current hash rate, 31.5 exahash. Future hash rate is supposed to be 50 exahash. I've been at 52. I'm guessing some of the older miners might be getting swapped out to get to 50 exahash. We'll see if that happens here. Bitcoin HODL. Oh, let me see here. I think I forgot to update the HODL here for them. I know, let me see, going down here. They didn't report it because they haven't reported July update yet. So that's why it's not updated. So that's based on the June numbers here. Going down here to the last 4 quarters revenue. Revenue peaked in Q4 of 2023 with 156 million, and then it's been coming down here. We had a pretty big dip here in Q1, and they were down approximately 34 million. And then Q2 was actually only 118 million, and this is just for their self-mining revenue. So it's not that bad, all things considered. So they did improve their operations here to get pretty close to where they were in Q1, which is a good thing for them. And then current quarter is estimated based on their latest uptime for June. So we're looking at July, August, and September for that. And based on the network the network hash is staying the same, Bitcoin staying the same price, and their hash rate staying the same, which I don't believe any of those things are going to be true going forward. But that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Last 4 quarters operating cost minus depreciation, that has come up here to 114.62. So that's the highest we've seen here in the last 4 quarters. On them, the cost to mine 1 Bitcoin minus depreciation has also increased to 46.2. And that's now fully based on the halving event, right? In Q3, we'll get the full effect of the halving event because we had April, which was, when do we have the halving event? And on the 19th, I think it was. So we had roughly 20 days of the 900 Bitcoin per day being handed out to miners. Compared to now, we have only 450. So that is going to probably change, go up even more here in Q3. Bitcoin mine quarterly, that has been coming down here, especially after the halving. We can expect that to happen. And their operations were kind of bad in Q1 as well. That should have been higher than what it was, but it is what it is. Debt to equity ratio here, lower is better, obviously. They're at 1.18 here. Current ratio higher is better. They're at 3.749, and that is because they moved some of their HODL position from the current assets to all assets, I guess you could say, or longer term assets. So that's drove that down to from 1.64 billion to 371 million here, and then total current liabilities is at 99.21 million. Not bad. Healthy balance sheet. I mean, there's not much really to complain here on Marathon for their balance sheet here. Going down here to the actual results, we'll get into some of the metrics here in just a little bit. But assets, we can see here digital currencies, right? That's what I was talking about here earlier. They had 1.2 billion in Q1. They're down to 17 million here. I'm not sure why they have that 17 million. Maybe that's Caspa. And then the Bitcoin, they moved down here to below here to 1.158 billion. So that did increase here nonetheless. What else do we have here? Deposits came down to 26 million. Total current assets went down to 371 from 1.6 billion. We talked about that already. What else changed here? Total assets actually increased to 3.1 billion from 2.956 billion. So that's good. Liabilities and stakeholder equity here is at total liabilities here is 99.2 from 71. So that's not too bad. So like I said, total liabilities actually decreased to 474 million from 480 million. That's good. Total liabilities and stakeholder equity is up to 3.1 billion from 2.95 billion. And then here we get into the revenue side of things here. So mining operations, transaction fees, that was down to 4.9 million, and that's based on how much they get for Bitcoin transaction fees over the quarter. So we saw a decrease in the number of transaction fees and everything else. That's why that's down. Then we have mining operator mining participant. Was 12.8, which that is, I believe, their joint ventures. Hosting services, that came down. They are going to be liquidating some of the hosting partners that they have there, or hosting customers going forward. They want to reduce that number to 0, so that's going to be decreasing, I think, going forward as well. Total revenues from contracts with customers was 26.4, and that includes the transaction fees that they get there. Mining operators, so this is their self-mining, that was 118 million here. And then total revenue came in at 145 million. It's down about 20 million from the 165 million that they had in Q1. Okay, so it's still not too bad. It's not the half that we think we're going to get after the halving event. So this is actually pretty good. And with them increasing their hash rate going forward, I expect this number to stay close to that, if they possibly might be even to beat that going into Q3. Okay, what else we got here? Cost of revenues, energy, hosting, and other, that was at 85 million. That is an increase from 71 million. They did install more hash rate, so that's understandable there. Cost of revenue, hosting services, that decreased. Well, the number of hosting customers that they have also decreased, but the margins on the hosting are pretty slim here. 8.6 million in revenue and 8 million in cost. I mean, what does that come out to be? A couple, 7-8% maybe in revenue. I'm just doing the math in my head here. Cost of revenues minus depreciation came in at 87 million. And then cost of revenue, energy hosting and others was 72.31%. So that was an increase here. So that's why it wasn't looking too good for them. General administrative expenses actually decreased to 57 million from 73 million. And we'll go down below. I actually show the stock-based compensation for that they got down below. What else do we have here? The realized, unrealized gains, losses on digital assets, loan receivable on digital assets. So that is the revaluation of Bitcoin via the FASB rules, right? That was a decrease of 147 million here because Bitcoin came down about 10,000 down to 60-some thousand. So that always hurts there. What else do we have here that was kind of interesting? Total operating expenses was negative 195 million compared to 372 million. Operating income was negative 232 million from 369 million positive. So that's the bad side of things here. And that's mostly, a lot of it is based on the 147 million here that was FASB change. What else? Operating income loss came in at 231 million compared to 375 million. And then they lost, let's see here. Where is it at? There we go. They lost 72 cents per share. Oh, excuse me. It's a yawn. Like I said, I'm tired. I'm beat. Prior to that, they had $1.30. So it was definitely not a good quarter for them. We can see that they had, for the year, fiscal year 2023, they were up $1.41. They had 35 cents here in Q4, 36 cents in Q3. So that's the bad sign here of things on it. And that's also based on FASB rules for a Bitcoin hodl. It's good when Bitcoin's going up from quarter to quarter, but it's not that great when Bitcoin's going down in the quarter. Okay, basic diluted shares were 278 million here. If we take out depreciation, their comprehensive income would have been 111 million negative, or negative 40 cents. That would have been an improvement there. And then without FASB and depreciation, they would have had 36 million actually in the positive here. SG&A without stock-based compensation, so that was 28 million. Stock-based compensation was also 28 million here. And then without FASB and depreciation and stock-based comp, they would have been at approximately 64 million positive at that point. Okay. So, like I said, it would have been too bad if it wasn't for the FASB. But going over here, we can see that their general and administrative compensation, which was 57 million here, that includes compensation as well, came in at 48% of the revenue here compared to 60%. So that is at least a decrease there. So that's looking good. I would like to see it much closer to the 20% range, if not lower, which they were in the prior, like 4 quarters to that, prior 5 quarters actually, before Q1. Yeah, I mean, just like Riot yesterday, we talked about that the stock-based compensation is just, I think, ludicrous for what they're getting here. There's got to be a way to weigh that somehow and have a better result for the shareholders. I don't know what that is, but it is extravagant here from what these guys are getting. What else do we have here? Debt versus EBITDA was negative 4.06. EV to EBITDA was negative 43. EBITDA was negative 111 million. Enterprise value was 4.8 billion here. Price to book ratio was 2.19. Book value was 2.6. Current ratio, we talked about that. And then we talked about cost to mine 1 Bitcoin. So it was a 93,000 roughly for them. That's including the stock-based compensation. If you take that out, it would probably be lower than that. But if we take out depreciation in there as well, we're looking at 46,000, like we talked about here as it is. Okay. So thoughts and overall sentiment on this. Marathon needs to improve their uptime. They need to improve their efficiencies. They need to improve on their growth going forward, which they have great growth, which I don't think they're going to, I think they're going to meet their guidance for 50 exahash by the end of the year. We'll see if they can do that. What do we have now? We got August, September, October, November, December. We have 5 months left, and they need to install about 19 exahash. It's going to be tough, but I think they might be able to do it. Other than that, I'd like to see the SG&A come down. It is just way, way, way too high. Stock-based compensation also, right? That's one of the, I'm a stickler for that a little bit here. I expect these guys to make good money, but I think what they're getting there is a little too extravagant. But you guys maybe have different opinions on that, but that's kind of where I'm seeing things, where I'm thinking, if I had a company like that, I don't know if I would be doing that. I know that, it's tough. You're in that position where you could do it. Would you do it? Possibly. I'd like to think that I would try to, you have some sort of a fiduciary duty to your shareholders, right? Where they're investing in your company, you're trying to do the best for them. And I think some of these extravagant stock-based compensations are too much. I could see them getting, a couple million a quarter, 3-4 million or some, maybe even 5 million a quarter. But these 20 million, 30 million that we're seeing here is just ludicrous. It's outrageous, I think. But let me know what you guys think on that one. Okay, so that's it for Marathon. Let's take a look at your guys' questions here. And as always, my little sales pitch here is Patreon members get access to all my spreadsheets. Link is down in the description for that. It's $8 a month right now. If you can find a couple spots in the $4 and $5 range, go ahead and do that because you get a nice discount at that point. And if you pay for the annual subscription, it's 10% less. And you also get access to our private Discord server on there, which we have a bunch of great people sharing their their knowledge, their wealth of knowledge, I guess you could say, on this. And there's some also heat debates on some of the miners as well. Okay, but that is it. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things here, and we'll call it a day. And I need to get some sleep because I'm tired. So let's see what we got going on here. Let's see. Andre says, okay, so you're trying Igazu. Okay, so that's the Wagazu that I'm trying to pronounce. Igazu. Thank you. I'll try to remember that. I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to be remembering that, but I'll try to remember that. Igazu. Thank you. Let's see. Woodstock says, Jason from Riot during his Bryson Anthony earnings report said that he will be able to vote October 29th. Institutions want this takeover and will help push it through. What retail investors can expect. Well, based on June numbers that we saw for Bitfarms, it's only like 40, not even, is it 40% or 20%? Let's take a look at it here really quick. I'll get this updated here for you guys later on. But as of June numbers here, institutions owned 22%. So if Riot owns another 20% roughly, that's 42%. So the rest is retail. So if retail is against it, we might be able to win. But we'll see. We'll see if the institutions increase here or not. I mean, institutions have stayed pretty consistent here over the last 6 months, right around 21, 22%, 21, 22, almost 23 here. So unless institutions start buying up a lot more shares, I think if retail in general is against it, we might be able to win. But we'll see. It's going to be close. Okay. All right, let's go back here. Let's see. Okay, True Rebel says enterprise value will still be there no matter who owns it, but I will vote for Bitfarms. I'm voting the same way. Hi Sebastian, question: if Cypher is to get bought out or merger, what would be a reasonable offer for us plebs? Hit the like button, fellow listeners. I appreciate that. For Cypher, what would be a good offer for them? Let's take a look at it here. Let's see where Cypher is sitting right now. Cypher is, and this is based on yesterday's number, sorry. Excuse me. So this is it. Cypher was down a little bit here. But let's just say it's around $5 right now. I think it's still undervalued. I think it should be, if we're getting an offer, possibly at least $8, I would say at least $8, if not higher, at that point. That would be, I think, maybe a fair offer for it, especially if it's going to be like a hyperscaler that's offering buyout on them. It's kind of where I'd like to see that, at least at $8 for you guys. I don't own any Cypher right now, and the only reason I don't own Cypher is because their growth this year is limited. They have more growth going into next year, but if they get bought out, I would say $8 plus would be a good number there right now for them. Excuse me. Wow. Okay, let's go back to the Q&A side of things here. Okay. Let's see. Also, in the press release for Amazon, they had one of their guys quoted in there saying that they have spent $30 billion in the first half of the year updating or upgrading or installing more servers, HPC, for the demand that's coming up in HPC AI. And I posted it on Twitter. I thought that was just a crazy number, right? Because we have, what is it? CORZ Scientific only getting, what is it? 4.2, 4.5 billion, whatever it is from CoreWeave. And that's basically, Amazon spent 8x of that on just upgrading their facilities for HPC, AI, and everything else. And they increased their revenue also by like, what was it, 4 billion or 6 billion compared to last year on the HPC, or just in general in WS. So that's why I'm thinking a lot of the HPC customers are probably going with some of the hyperscalers like Amazon, Google. What's the other one there? Microsoft as well, right? They have more options there, I think, than they do with the miners. That's why we've only seen really 2 good contracts so far. But I could be wrong on that, but that's kind of what I'm thinking, and that's kind of what I'm seeing here right now. And they're looking at, Amazon is looking to spend more in the next half as well to build that out. So that's just crazy. I mean, you're looking at possibly having 60, 70 billion here being spent by Amazon alone, improving their HPC, servers, everything else that they offer, and you can scale with Amazon. I mean, if your business grows, you can grow with them without a problem. I mean, it doesn't take more than a couple of seconds, maybe a couple of minutes to increase the bandwidth that you need and operations and everything else on it. So that was just wild to me. But I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Let's see here. Bill says DMG press release after the closed DMG blockchain announced that incorporation of new Alberta-based digital asset trust company going to be a BTC custodian for institutional clients and miners. Yeah, that's why I like DMG. DMG is doing all these great things here to help out just Bitcoin in general, with whether it's having their what's it called? They also have a mining pool that you can use there. They have also, they were the first ones to allow people to mine. That's not really mine, but inscript Bitcoin basically, like ordinals and things like that, before anybody else was doing it. They're doing a lot of great things, but they are a smaller company. They're like at 2 exahash right now, I think. But they are doing a lot of good things. Mark Sibing says that the elimination of hosting will reduce costs, and they will be making 50 exahash just with their current facilities. It's going to get good. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking here as well, right? I talked about them reducing their hosting and possibly getting to 50 exahash by the end of the year. So things are definitely looking pretty good for Marathon if they can pull that off. Let's see. Sebastian, appreciate all your work. What miners were you most excited about when you first started investing compared to your favorite miners now? Well, going back to 2022, the ones that I was most excited about was at that point still Cleanspark and Bitfarms and IREN, actually. I wanted to get to IREN a lot earlier, but in 2022, they had to give back a lot of the miners they had through the special purpose vehicles back to, I think it was NYDIG. At that point, they decreased their hash rate by like 3 exahash, 2.5, 3 exahash, something like that. So when I saw that, I had to put a pause on. I didn't actually start buying IREN at that point, but if it wasn't for that, I probably would have been buying IREN at that point. But those were the 3 that I was really excited about going forward. I just saw good things from them. What else do we have here? Wolf barely dipped today. Any thoughts why? Well, that could be that because Talon is looking to get out of the mining side of things. I'm drawing a blank on the facility name. Gosh, what is that name? It's the one that they have a JV with TeraWolf already. So maybe that's the reason for it. I'm not sure exactly why. Could be also maybe they're getting an HPC customer. Who knows? Question, hello Seb. Overall, what is your opinion on Mara Q2 earnings compared to Riot Q2? Thank you. Overall, I thought that was a little bit better. Their stock-based compensation was lower. Still not as low as I would like to see it, but it was lower. The revenues were better. Operations have also improved as far as uptime and things like that. So Q2 was much better for them than Q1 probably was. If they were able to operate in Q1 like they did in Q4 of last year, oh my gosh, they would have had so much more revenue at that point. But it is what it is that with them. But I do believe it was better than what Riot actually came out with on it. update. How would Bitfarms stock price be affected if Riot gave up and dumped all their shares in a short order? I think if they do it now, it would be a short-term pain compared to if they do it later on. But I don't know how much of it. I mean, they own 60% of the company right now, so that's quite a bit, right? If they're aggressive at selling it too, they could drive the stock down to $1.50, $1 even possibly. So that would be a buying opportunity at this point. If they do it relatively quickly, if they hold off until sometime after October, if Bitcoin's higher and Bitfarms price is higher at that point, they might drive it down, 50 cents to $1, maybe more at that point as well. We'll have to see. P.S. Are you more bullish on Bitfarms based on the updates? Yeah. They're continuing to do things. They had a hiccup here with Bitmain miners. They are getting that resolved, and they should have that resolved in August. So it's a little bit of a delay to get in 12 exahash. And as long as they have good miners coming in from Bitmain going forward in August and September and all that, I do see them getting to 21 exahash. And I like what they're doing here. Fully funded 21 exahash. That's great. They can hodl more here going into past the halving event as well. Those are all good things. Those are things that I want to see in the miners. Let's see. Question. You were very disappointed with Mara performance with mining in Q1. Would you say they have returned to parity on performance of mining with others? Not yet. They are getting things resolved, but they're not there yet. We'll have to see what they come out with July updates. That might be the turning point for them. If they can have much better uptime and everything else, then yeah, they might be a parity. But I need to see those July updates. Based on June numbers, no. Let's see, between Hut, Wolf, Bitdeer, Hive, which is better buy now? Oh gosh. Hut 8, I don't have really great numbers for them. I only have Q1 numbers for them with the combined company, and they haven't reported anything as far as future growth for Bitcoin. They say they want to grow, but they're not saying what, and they haven't bought anything yet. So Hut would be out for me. Wolf, they're debt-free now, which is good. We'll have to see what they do going forward. If they buy out, I'm trying to Talon for the other share or for the other percentage of the joint venture there, I think that would be a good sign there as well. Bitdeer has a lot of growth, but it's not going to be until 2025. Hive is a great company. They run really well. Their growth is not that great. Also, they're going to get to 12 plus exahash next year sometime. Don't know exactly when that's going to happen. I'm guessing probably around this time next year. And at that point, I think they're still going to be maintaining about 1% of the network hash rate, with Bitcoin network hash rate going up as well. So it's tough between those guys. Wolf has a HPCI play, so does Hive. Bitdeer also. I would be a toss-up between Wolf, Bitdeer, and Hive right now as far as which one might do better going forward. Okay, we have some... Okay, Iguazu is not quite correct. It should be Iguazu. Wow. Okay. I'm going to call it just Iguazu or something like that. I don't know. I mean, that's tough. HD Tech says Iguazu. Yeah, I have no idea on that one. That's a tough one. Let's see. Question, what's a good price to enter a Bitdeer in your opinion, Seb? Thanks. Bitdeer, let's take a look at Bitdeer here really quick on my charts. What do we have them at right now? Okay, it's up there. Bitdeer, I think even now is a pretty good price point for them. They're probably down from that, but I'm at 908 right now, and they should be probably between 1168 and 1752, and that's with a PE of 10. So, not a lot of growth this year, a lot more growth next year. Plus, they're developing their own ASIC miners, so we could possibly get them even higher. Let's just bump them up to 15 because I think they probably should get that. So we're looking at 1752 to 2628. They're at 908. I think right now is probably a good point to get into. That is, if they can deliver on the promises of their future ASICs, getting down to 5 joules per terahash and things like that, and next year sometime. So I think it's next year or the following year. I can't remember. But yeah, they have a lot of stuff going for them. Just not a lot of growth this year, a lot more growth next year. So if you're looking at this at the next 12 to 18 months, yeah, it might not be a bad deal there. Okay, so that's just looking at that. Right now I'm going to keep it at 10 because they don't have a lot of growth this year. Okay. What else we have here? Let's see. Riot executives will most likely buy Bitfarms shares and vote. Also, not all institutions will vote against Bitfarms. True, right? We'll have to see. I mean, it's going to be definitely, I think, a hair-raising event come October. We'll see what it goes to. HD Tech asks, how do you pronounce the damn? Yeah, I have no idea. Can you give a quick overview of BitDeer and compare them to Bitfarms today? The price dropped. Not sure how much more it will drop. If you were to add BitDeer, at what price? I already covered that just a second ago. Let's see. Hi Seb, I bought some BitFufu earlier this week. Any thoughts? BitFufu, I've looked into them in the past. I have to look into them again just to refresh my mind on them. What do they? I would have to look into them. So remind me. I may look into that. Let me write that down. Let me look at BitFufu. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think they provide monthly updates unless they do that on their website or something like that. Let me see. Let me write this down. BitFufu. BitFufu. I'll take a look at them again. See what's going on there. Okay. DC'd into IREN today, but thinking of selling some BTC ETF to possibly get more IREN or Cleanspark. Which one do you think will be a better play? Okay, my price target for Cleanspark is around $70. For IREN, it's around $80. Okay, given where they are right now, it looks like IREN might be a better play. But I think they both will do much better than possibly a Bitcoin ETF. That's just my thoughts on that one. So whichever one you get into, I think it will be a good one. As long as Bitcoin goes up to 150,000, 200,000, somewhere around there, that should be a good play. Has anyone published July mining numbers? The only one that has published it is Bitfarms. We talked about it earlier in the video. And they had actually pretty good numbers there. Let's see here. Jack asks, did you see the power mining interview with Riot's Jason Les? I did not, no. I will try to take a look at it tomorrow. Just been busy today with work. First things, and then trying to get the house kind of cleaned up before my wife gets back. He explained that the compensation funds a bit as payment to partners and such, but not sure he gave a clear picture. Partners. Well, even at partners, why are you giving shares to partners? You have a healthy balance sheet. You should be paying that out in either cash or BTC at that point. I'm not sure how I feel about that, giving shares to partners. Maybe that was given out to... what was that? The one that they got here recently, Block. But that was just recently. That was in July. So that shouldn't be affected by June numbers or the second quarter numbers. Roger asked, why is Riot so hell-bent on acquiring Bitfarms and not someone like Cypher? Because Bitfarms has operations in other countries. So you get diversification that way. They have experience in other countries as well. So you get that knowledge. Knowledge is power. So... that's probably a reason why they're also growing more this year than Cypher is as well. They have really good operations as well. So there's a lot of good things in Bitfarms for Riot to acquire them. And to be honest, I can see why Jason and the Riot wants to acquire them. If I was in Jason's place, I'd probably want to try to do that too myself. So I don't blame him on that. I'm just not happy about it. But it is what it is. Let's see. Are you more bullish on Mara based on today's earnings? I thought it was good earnings. It wasn't that bad as people were expecting. So, but I did hear some, or at least I saw a tweet, I think, from somebody that the Mara pigs are, like, 2 of them have sold out. There might be a third one selling out as well. So some of those Mara pigs are capitulating because of it. But we'll see. I'd like to see the July numbers for them as far as what their uptime is, operations, efficiencies, things like that, to see. But yeah, if they can improve those things, I would be more bullish on Mara. I think Mara is going to do very, very well. They have the name recognition above all the other miners. If you search for Bitcoin miners, what pops up first? Marathon. They have the name recognition there, so they should do very, very well. What else we got here? Out of curiosity, what price would Mara have to be in order for you to have genuine interest in investing in them? Well, they're at, what are they at today right now? They finished out at 18.14. I think Mara for them at 15, if I had the cash. At 15, I think that would be a steal at that point. Because if we look at their numbers here, what do we have them at? So let's take a look at it here. Marathon. Going down here really quick. I think they're kind of fairly valued right now as it is. So based on the numbers that we have here for current quarters, about 102 estimated. Yeah. In the last 3 quarters, we have 411 million. So combined 513 million in revenue per year, roughly. I'm in between 1744 and 2619. They're at 18 something right now. I think they're fairly valued on the lower end side of things. But if they get to like 15, that would be a steal at that point if you can get them. Especially if they can execute on their growth and if they can improve their uptime as well. So we'll see that in July numbers when they do come out. Okay, that's kind of what I'll be looking to if I had the cash. But I still think that maybe at that point, I'll just leave it at that. I think that would be a good deal at that point. Let's see here. Amik says, not loving Riot. Does it make sense to sell it now and move over to another miner, and which one? I mean, if you're not happy with Riot and you don't have a conviction that they're going to do much better going forward, their uptime, I think it will be very, very important to see what their July numbers are like. So I would maybe hold off until then before you make any decisions on it. The reason I say that is because these last 12 to 18 months, their production, uptime, operations have been horrible. If they improve those with the Corsicana facility, where they have much better uptime, efficiencies, and all that stuff, that might be a good sign going forward for them. So just keep an eye on that one. And then as far as which one could you get into, I think any of the top miners that you want to look at, Marathon, Bitfarms, Cleanspark, IREN, CORZ, any of those I think are going to do well going forward. Woodstock says Freedom by 40 has Bit Digital at 35 to 60 by year end. Riot, IREN, Cleanspark in the same price area. Wow. For Bit Digital, I mean, that would, we went you Bit Digital to, where's Bit Digital at right now? Bit Digital is at $3. I mean, you're looking at basically a 10x on that one. The only thing that I have a concern with Bit Digital is their asset light. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. They don't own any infrastructure. If they could own infrastructure, I think that would be beneficial to the shareholders. And at that point, the stock might get recognized a little bit more. But they don't have it, at least right now. They're also looking to grow to 6 exahash by the end of the year, which is not very high. They're at 3x, roughly 3 exahash right now. So I would like to see them grow even more than that potentially. But they're making a lot of money from the HPC customers that they do have right now. But they're not being valued for it. So I would say it might be tough for them to get there without having some infrastructure that they own, possibly. Let's see. Let's see. Mark says the efficiency improved for July. I'm very excited to see what your analysis when you see the official results. They mined 603 BTC in July, which is a solid improvement from June. Yeah, so if you're looking at the Mara pool and what they mined, I haven't looked at it yet. But I will pull that data in probably over the weekend or something, depending on when they provide their numbers. If they provide them the numbers tomorrow, we may do a video tomorrow. But like I said, I got to pick up my kids and wife at the airport. I may not be home until late, so I don't know if I'm going to get that. But if anything, we'll get that over the weekend. But we'll get that. Yes, 630 BTC. I think you're talking about Marathon here. That would be an improvement for them as they mined here. Let's see, what do they mine here? 551 in June. That would be a nice improvement. So that should improve their efficiencies and things like that. So that would be good for them. Let's see. What else we got? Hi, Sebastian. Why wouldn't Bitfarms sell some of their HODL to buy a lot of their own shares before the October vote versus Riot takeover? Would this not give them more voting power versus Riot or others? Well, their HODL is at 65 million. The stock price is at two something, right? 265. So I mean, how much can you actually get? What is that going to be? Like 25 million shares or something like that? That's not much. I mean, it would help, but that's not much. And you're better off holding the shares or holding the HODL, because if Bitcoin goes 2x, 3x from there, you can see how that kind of improves those numbers as well. But yeah, I mean, that's an interesting take there. Laserbeam Sandwich says, I like the prospects of Bitfarms, though I'm worried about Riot's interference. Absolutely despise Jason less and the team. I don't want to get caught in the mess. Position is flat right now. Thoughts? I'm with you. I mean, I'm being optimistic about it. I'm optimistic that they might actually be able to beat Riot at this, and that's kind of my conviction there. I I'm usually more of an optimistic person in general as it is. So I'm being optimistic at it, maybe wrongfully so on it. But that's kind of why I'm in Bitfarms right now as it is. Their operations are great. Their uptime is great. Their growth is great. We have a lot of the FUD that's been cleared up right now with Paraguay, the new CEO, the additional board member as well. So there's a lot of good things happening. It's just the Riot. The Riot news around Bitfarms right now is the only thing that's kind of holding it back, I think. Predictions on Cleanspark earnings, I think they're going to be close. I know they're going to take a hit on the FSB with the HODL. If we look at Cleanspark really quick here on my sheets. So if we look at Cleanspark here, I have them getting at, let's see here, where is it at? So they had 111 million revenue in Q1. I have them at 104 million, so that's only 8 million difference. But their HODL is going to be the deciding factor there. So if you're down 10,000 on, what was it, their HODL in at the end of Q1. See, where's their HODL? Okay. So March was the end. They had 5,000. They have 1,500 more roughly. I mean, 5,000, that's what, 15 million? If my math is correct? 15 million decrease. And let's take a look at the numbers here in end of Q1, or our Q1, their Q2. Let's see, what was their profit on it? Going all the way down here. Where is it at? They had 156 million, so maybe they could squeak out a positive EPS, right? 123 million, take away 15 million from that, possibly. Even if you take a 75 million, they still might be able to squeak out a positive EPS. But it depends on how much they also include in general administrative, share-based compensation, depreciation, all that stuff will have an impact on it as well. So we'll see on that one. Okay. What else we got here? In your opinion, would Bitcoin be by October 80,000, and what would think Bitfarms will be? Okay, so do I think Bitcoin will be at 80,000 by October? That's a tough one right now. We're trading sideways. We have a little bit of a triangle that we're looking at to see if that gets flipped here. So let's go over here really quick. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about on this one. So the orange lines are, I drew a triangle here from the bottoms and the tops going forward here. Based on this, I have maybe Bitcoin trading sideways or in this range here, in this triangle till like the end of November potentially. So that would be after the presidential elections. And at that point, it might go up because right now we have been kind of trading in this kind of zone here. If we break out of this before that, then yes, I think we might be able to get to close to 80,000. But if we trade in this zone, in this triangle, then it might take us until possibly November before we break out of it. So November, maybe December might be a really good month here. But we'll see. It's hard to tell that far out as far as where Bitcoin's going to be. In the long run, I do believe Bitcoin's going to be much higher. Whether it's in the next 12 to 18 months, I don't know exactly when that's going to be. Okay. I wish I had a crystal ball. I think all you guys wish you had a crystal ball as well. It will make things a lot easier for us to invest. Let's see. Asian Dietitian says, in case this BTC cycle may be different and never crash, totally understand your plan to sell everything by DCing the cycle, but would you consider keeping a small percentage of your portfolio percentage? Yes. If it is a different cycle and we can see that it's a different cycle, then yes, I may keep a percentage of it. Whether it's going to be 50% or 25% or 20%, I just don't know yet right now. We'll have to see. Yeah. Example, 10%, 25% for longer term beyond the next 6 to 18 months. Yes. Yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out if it is a completely different cycle. Thinking about picking up Digital at 320, what do you think? I think they're undervalued from where they should be. But like I said before, previously here, they don't own any infrastructure. They're asset light. I'd like to see them buy some infrastructure. I think that would help the stock price at that point. Let's see. Christian says, as I see, Riot is kind of a failure in the investor view, so they want to buy Bitfarms, who looks like a rock star, to bring themselves back up in the eyes of investors. I don't think they need to do that. I think they just need to fix their operations and their uptime. If they can do that, they're going to be looked upon by investors at a much brighter light than they are right now. Mara price estimate updated estimate. Yeah, we talked about that one when we looked at it here. Let's see here. Marathon, I think right now it should be valued between 1744 and 2616. That's kind of where I'm at right now. We'll see what the numbers come in for July. That might update these numbers as well here going future for the 12 next months. If the revenue was the same, that might increase that. But it's kind of where I see them right now. Bitcoin going up, they will be going up as well with it. All right. Let's see. Mark says, thanks, Seb. You're always willing to be open to all ideas and are not set on one company. Just best value in your eyes. Thanks for keeping it real. Yeah. I mean, the big thing that I look for with the miners is the things that I've looked at in the past is operations, costs, uptime, efficiencies. All those things are important to me because at the end of the day, if you have great operations, the return that you're getting on those miners is going to be a lot better than somebody that's operating at 60% uptime or 50% uptime, whatever it might be. Somebody that's operating at 90%, 95% uptime, 100% uptime is going to be able to pay off those miners a lot better. That's a better investment for me than somebody that's not doing that. That's kind of the way I look at things. I'm not in any one camp. I'm not against Marathon. I'm not against Riot. The only thing I'm against them is their operations. And that's data. It's all data there. What Bitfarms stock price do you think it would take for Riot to back out? Probably around $4 or $5 even at that point. That's going to double their market cap at $2 billion roughly. At that point, I mean, you're way overpaying. You're better off just building out yourself. That wouldn't make any sense for them to buy out at that point. I said, did you see the news Cleanspark put out? I did not. What news is that? I saw the news that they're going to be reporting their Q2 results or their Q3 results, our Q2, next week sometime, but I didn't see any other news. Excuse me. And then Da says, 209 people live and only 56 likes. Guys, please like this video. We need to support Sebastian for his efforts. Thank you. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, if you guys enjoy it, hit the like button. If you don't enjoy it, hit the thumbs down button. Seb, thank you. Let's see. Seb, thank you. I know you're tired. Have a good night. Thank you. Have a good night too. I'm catching up to all the questions here. Is there a name for this triangle in Bitcoin chart? How do you generate this triangle pattern on TradingView? There is a name for it. I can't remember. I'm not a chartist. I'm not a technical analyst on charts and things like that. I have seen this before, but basically what you do is, let me go over here to the screen so you can see it. I'm picking like the bottom here and just looking where the bottoms here have been before and drawing a line. So you can draw the line here with this tool over here. You just pick the lines, right? And then you try to see where they intersect each other. So then you take the top, the previous tops, the lower tops, I guess you could say, and see where we possibly could get to as well. And I don't know if this is a bull flag or bull pennant, whatever they call this exactly. But that's kind of what I'm seeing here, at least right now on it. Could be wrong. I'm not a chartist, like I said before, but I've seen this. Others have done this as well. So we'll see where it goes. But, you know, it still wouldn't be too bad. If we trade sideways for the next couple of months, I'm all for that. I want to buy some more shares of the miners that I want to get into. So I would be happy with that before we start having a nice leg up to 120,000, 150,000, 180,000, 200,000, whatever it might be. So I would be okay with that. I've been in this for 2 years. I don't mind waiting another year. Make it all better. Let's see. Bevneet says, Sebastian Bitcoin will hit 80,000 sometime in August. Mt. Gox is almost done. U.S. is done selling. Are you sure U.S. is done selling? We're not sure yet. They sold a portion of it. Germany is done. We will start moving up. The selling pressure will be gone. I hope you're right. Either way, if we start going up now or later on, I'd be for it. Let's see. Aside from infrastructure, any other concerns with BitDigital? That is the only one that I have with them. And it's not really a concern of mine. I think it's the only reason why the stock is not doing that well is because they don't own any infrastructure. The only thing you're valuing there is the miners that they have, the operations with HPC AI, and that's it. So there's not really much there to value them other than those things, and those assets are depreciating. Infrastructure depreciates as well, but at least you can sell the infrastructure and have something for it. So that's kind of the way I look at it that way. Let's see here. Also, rate cuts in September will help Bitcoin to finally fly. Yeah, so it could be right around September, October, depending when we get those. Yeah. Let's see. Hi Seb, hope you're having a good day. I am, thank you. Do you have any insight into IREN's July update? I do not. I'm waiting for them to release it. It's kind of tough right now because Yahoo's not providing those updates because for whatever reason they have a bone to pick against miners and Bitcoin in general. That have anything, if the miners report or if they have in the press release like Bitcoin or crypto or anything like that, Yahoo just does not provide that press release, which is just crazy. Let's see here. I just turned in, so if you haven't gone through this, I can find it and then watch it and miss it later. I have not seen anything from IREN yet, but I will double check tomorrow. Right price target of BTC crosses 150,000, I would think. So that's basically 2x roughly from where we are right now. A little bit more than that, like 2 point something x. At that point, Riot should be at least 3 to 5x from where it is right now. As long as it can continue to build out, have much better uptime, that should be a good thing. Let's see here. Hi, Seb. I mean, your Psycho Mara estimated top. Keep up the great coverage. So for the top, okay, if they can get to 50x by the end of this year, gosh, we're probably looking north of $80 for them. Maybe even north of $100 possibly. That's kind of where I would see things. As long as Bitcoin goes to 150,000, 200,000, so we're right around there. See, Thunder Gaming says I have 6,000 shares of Mara at 29.36. Do you think it's a bad idea to use 2x leverage to amplify gains? I doubt Mara drops another 50% to wipe out my account. It seems like a really good idea. Thoughts? 2x leverage. I mean, I don't like to use leverage on these guys because they are just so volatile. Bitcoin is volatile in itself, but the miners are even worse. So I wouldn't personally. I don't like to use leverage, like I said. You having at $29.36, yeah, I mean that's kind of getting up towards the top. Dollar cost averaging if you can, I would suggest, and just be patient, give it time. I mean right now price is at $18. Dollar cost averaging as much as you can at this point. If it dips a little bit more, buy into it some more, and then just wait it out for the next 12 to 18 months, and then you should be doing much better at that point. Yeah, you guys are also saying the same thing here. I'm seeing in the comments, bad idea to do leverage. DZ, I can't pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Hi, Seb. Just catch your live stream again. Yay. Yep. Thanks for coming in. Let's see. You guys can probably hear my pup outside. I got to let her in. She's been out there for probably an hour. Let's see here. Especially Bitcoin will move like crazy, even with billions being sold. Market is just eating it up. Wait until the FUD is over. Either way, if we start going up now or later, I'm all for it. I'm patient. I have the next 12 to 18 months. I can wait. I'm not concerned about it. TerraWolf, if being bought out. Let's see. Well, I don't know if TerraWolf's being bought. I think Cypher's on the shopping block right now. Somebody might be buying them out. TerraWolf, I haven't heard anything about them, at least not yet. I think Anthony Powers has said that TerraWolf might have a pretty good customer coming up for HPC. Yeah, we'll see if that happens. In short, I believe Cleanspark's 30 megawatt immersion cooled data center to boost hash rate by over 2x in 2024. Not sure about that one, but possibly. Let's see here. Beer for everyone who bought the dip yesterday's dip. Yeah. All right, and I think I'm done here with with all the questions here. So we're going about an hour here, a little bit over an hour. So I just want to say thank you to everyone coming in here. Greatly appreciate you guys, especially this late at night. I do this stuff here, so I greatly appreciate you guys coming in to chat and ask questions. Hopefully you guys find something useful out of my videos and my rants and musings about the miners. But yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Like I said, tomorrow we won't do a video. Typically, we don't do a video on Friday anyways unless something happens drastic. So whatever happens tomorrow, we will cover it in the weekend video, which might be probably on a Sunday. Because like I said, my family's coming back tomorrow. I'll be enjoying the time with them on Saturday. And we'll get back into the swing on things on Sundays as well. All right, so I wish you guys a great Friday, happy weekend, and be patient. That's all I can say is be patient. We've been through this so far. From the lows in 2022 to nice increases in 2023. We're in 2024. Be patient. If you have conviction in the miners and Bitcoin going up in the next 12 to 18 months, be patient, buy the dips if possible. As always, not financial advice, but that's kind of what I'm doing here. So have a great night, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Again, thank you so much for coming in.